Welcome back, folks. Today we had update 4.14. It is basically for the Topwater Kayak Cup. And one thing I want to note here, I am very straightforward with this. And you guys know I'm pretty fair and balanced. Uh, I'm not normally too hard on Fishing Planet, but there are some things I don't like in this tournament, and we'll get to them here in a second. But I want to start with, this is going to be next week. And one thing I want you guys to know is if you are low level, sign up for this. This is a good way to get levels and XP. As always, I say this with every tournament. Even if you don't do the tournament, this unlocks some decent leveling lakes, especially if you're low level. With that being said, let's get into the tournament rules here. All right, so players must arrive at the finishing point before the ending of scoring time in order to complete the tournament stages. Uh, that's interesting. I have not seen that on any other one. So I went back and looked just to make sure I wasn't crazy. That's not in any of the other rules here, guys. So I don't know if there is actually a finishing point now. But I did not see any of that in any rules that have ever been in any tournament so far. So I'm very intrigued by that. That's kind of a bonus for me. Now, with that being said, we can only use spinning or casting rods with top water lures. That makes sense. Boats and kayak usage is tournament is allowed. The reason I believe they have boats up there is when you make a tournament, you have to there is no either or. You have to make them both valid. So I think that's probably why it's up there. You're not going to want to use a boat. They have the same starting point as a kayak, so you can't take a boat to a kayak spot and then switch over to a kayak. So just so you guys know, players must use a kayak. Only the fish from a kayak scores. So there you go there. Obviously no rod stand. 10 fish. Everything else seems to be the same. And as we get into uh, the qualifiers here, I'm going to be very clear on some of these why I don't like them. So for qualifier one here, we have Falcon Lake. And I like this one. This makes sense. There's not, the downside is there's a lot of Falcon Lake trout stuff. But being that it's top water, I do like that. It is a little different. And it just makes sense. Falcon Lake, if there was a kayak cup, I just don't know how you don't put it in. It's predictable, so you're most likely going to be going after trophy trout and unique rainbows, guys, here. Now, the rewards, and this is where I start to have an issue. It is the X Series Frog. So, nothing really crazy there. Now, we'll go to qualifier two, and it is Solenge River. This one is pretty predictable as well, and the thing I don't like about this is there's basically a comp that's already kind of like this. We already have the mouse lure Titanium one, so it kind of overlaps with that. Now, granted, the kayak thing, it'll be cool, it'll be fun, so I'm not being too hard on it, but again, rewards are only X Series Frog. And we will go to the next one. So this one will be obviously Siberian Taimen. If you have anything but a trophy or unique Siberian Taimen, probably in this one you're not going to make it. As I did the finals of the Taimen one in the Anniversary Cup. So I kind of know what to expect on that one. For qualifier three here, it is San Joaquin Delta. Again, pretty predictable. Um, and I'm interested by that arrive at finishing point. I don't know what they have in mind for that because the Fishing Planet people are from Ukraine. A lot of the translations aren't always uh, ideal, if that makes sense. So again, I kind of like this one a little bit more. Obviously, San Joaquin was going to be in here probably for anybody that wasn't guessing. You could kind of guess what was going to be in this tournament and what wasn't. I do like the fact, obviously, carp and sturgeon aren't going to be in it. It's tap water, but I do like this, because you can get a trophy Chinook and uni steelhead. There's at least a couple options with a uni striped bass and trophy striped bass in there. There's actually three fish you can go for in this one. That's why I really like this one. Uh, I mean, it makes sense. It's predictable, but again, rewards X Series Frog. And now we'll go to the semifinals. And this is the one I don't necessarily care for, guys. And it was super predictable that it was going to be in here. St. Croix Lake, but it's all the pike in that again. We already have so many. uh, I mean, everybody does muskie and pike here, and there's already, I believe, two other tournament finals that are being tournaments that have this setup essentially in it. And I felt like this would have been a good opportunity if they had done it for just to do smallmouth bass. This is a good spot for smallmouth bass, and it gets overlooked all the time. And this one is kind of disappointing to me. And as you can see by the rewards, they are more disappointing. And I'll get to why these rewards are disappointing later. I try to normally not get too hard on stuff, but it is what it is. And I want to be very clear, you guys that are low level are going to want to sign up for these, because even if you don't do the tournament, again, as we always talk about, these will be good places to level up. Now the finals at Maku Maku. I I kind of like this one. It's a little bit different, but I feel like we're back at Arapaima again at Maku, like the only fish they do. I kind of would have been nice to see something else, maybe peacock bass or payara, but being that the Arapaima are in there, it's just going to be an Arapaima finals. Sometimes I, I don't necessarily agree with going to a place to save fish every time. I do, it's different. We don't have Maku Maku really in any tournaments besides the catfish one. Wait, we don't even have it in there. So I like it because it's not a tournament one, really. We don't have an Arapaima tournament deal. So I'm not opposed to that. And the rewards, all right. So a lot of people are going to be kind of confused of why I don't like this. For one, the kayak, it could be cool, but I doubt it has any advantage over other kayaks. It is cool, and granted that I won the X Series boat, uh, they are cool looking, so I'll give it that. But the lure box, I don't like that one. There's no reason to have X Series lure box. I almost guarantee it's not going to have more lures than anything we have. And even if it does, it's going to be outshadowed by another update coming out anyway. That's going to have a better lure box, even if it is close. That one looks like the level 50-ish one, so I don't think it's going to be that high. And it's not a piece of gear you see, so I don't care for that. And the frog popper, major popper, and spinner bait. I These rewards to me, the pro kayak, that's pretty cool. I can see why people want that. All the other rewards in this tournament are just way under par for me. Outside of the major popper, these are essentially basically all kind of 30-day challenge ones for the most part. The spinner bait isn't, but there's 30-day challenge spinner baits that are really close to that. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the rewards, and I kind of feel like this would have been a very good tournament to get Emerald Lake in it and White Moose Lake in it. They're very good kayak places, and they could have replaced the Pike at Michigan, um, you know, or something to that effect, because I feel like uh, Well, White Moose does get a lot of love in the tournaments, but Emerald Lake does not. So it would have been a good place for Emerald Lake to fit in, maybe instead of Michigan. Well, you guys know the Muskie is probably one of my best things in the game. I don't necessarily, I'm not thrilled about him being in here yet again. I think this is going to be the third or fourth time in tournaments that you're going to be fishing Muskie now in a year. Overall, the tournament's still going to be a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, guys. And in obviously with a kayak, they're kind of limited on what places they could go to. Um, and I think I might be nitpicking, but for me, the big downside to this is the rewards. For a player like me, normally I really do well in the new tournaments. Obviously, as you guys know, this year we did really good in the brand new ones, as we have in the past. But I just don't. There's not a whole lot of drive for me in this one. A lot of the stuff was pretty predictable, and the rewards are not that great. Obviously, people are going to be freaking out about the kayak, but there's only three people that are going to get that kayak just with my X Series boat that I got. So a lot of people aren't going to have a reasonable luck at that. In the other ones that you get when you don't get, so if you look, most people are going to get them the five lures. You get these three, which the popper is kind of cool, but everything else, like this one here, um, the walker, these are all 30-day challenge ones basically. So there is not really. Uh, I don't necessarily like the rewards, guys. And while the tournament is going to be cool and new, I feel like Michigan as semifinals is rough. We've already done it a million times, and I feel like they could have put Emerald Lake in here somewhere. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this. We'll see you next time. You guys need to let me know what your thoughts are of this tournament down in the bottom. But we'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.